It is Monday. Monday that just feels like a weird reality that we're living in, doesn't it? Oh my goodness, you guys. Monday. Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're joining me from. Hope everyone is doing all right. Watched the news this morning. It just seems so dire. Oh, I'm not, just what a situation we're in. It really is going to take this sense of community that we have to get through, I think. So I appreciate you guys joining me. I really do. Glad to have you. You guys holding up all right? Same question every day. New day. The longer it goes on, the more I'm like, do I want to do my hair? No, I don't. But I have a short hairstyle, so yeah, crazy. Yay, good to have you guys. Welcome. This is a technique that is not new, of course. This has been around since forever, but I thought it'd be fun to resurrect some of the older techniques because they are super fun and they're fun to revisit especially since we're all in lockdown. And this is a great, easy method if you're not confident in your painting abilities. And the best thing about it is that if it sucks, it doesn't matter, right? It's just fun. And that's just overpainting a photo. So I have overpainted photos of my pets. No, Diana, I didn't start early. It's 10:01. I've overpainted photos of my pets. I have overpainted photos of my children, of myself, of my family. Hi, Curdy. I have overpainted all kinds of random things. So this method is good whether you want to overpaint a photo of a dog or of a person or of a building, of anything really. Yay, Heather. Wonky faces. I saw that. That looked awesome. So you just need to find a photo that you want to overpaint, and you don't need to print it on cardstock I just tore these out of a fashion magazine. If you have a picture of your pet or something like that you want to do, just print it out on your printer with, just regular printer. Just print it. The nice thing about being able to print something is you can make it the size of the entire page because bigger is easier for this technique. So don't print out a photo that's about this big. Print out something big or find a photo of something really big. So I don't even know if anybody takes magazines anymore. Do you guys take magazines? But anywho, find yourself a couple of photos. So I'm going to overpaint a face today for the demo. And I went through a magazine that I have and found all of these. And I will tell you that something like this face, which is more of a 100% view, will be easier than something like this, which is a 3/4 view. So if you've never done it before, try to find a face where your subject, whether either you or whatever, if you're printing out a photo of you or a kid, is looking straight on versus looking at you from the side. Unless you've done this a million times, and then you can do it any way you want. Okay, this is definitely doable, but it's just different consideration because when you have a 3/4 view of a face, you have foreshortening, and foreshortening is perspective within a single object. So if you look at this eye, you're going to have to make smaller than this eye. Her two eyes are likely the same size, but because her face is tilted, what is far away from you is going to appear smaller to your eyes than what is nearby. So if you look at her mouth, this part of her mouth must be smaller than this part of her nose smaller than this part. So that's kind of a little bit more challenging if you're brand new to it. So pick something with a full front or almost. This is almost full front, and I think I will do this one today. Now, here's what I'm going to have you do today. I'm going to have you get a Sharpie. I should have pinned out one of my kitties too to do, but I'm going to give you a Sharpie, or I want you to take a Sharpie or a pen, and I want you to outline the main features. Just do the top of the eye and the iris. Let's see, there's a lid. Because the goal here is to make a fun, funky face and to not, it doesn't necessarily have to be realistic. You're just using this photograph as a guide. It's just something to start with, so you're not starting with a blank piece of paper. We're not necessarily wanting this finished result to look like this woman, and she's probably very glad about that. Because the last thing she needs is to be turned into a creature from Avatar or video game. But that's what I probably am going to do to her, right? So if you take a Sharpie and if you give her an outline, or him, or whatever you're doing, then that's going to show through your paint layers as you go. And it's going to help you, know where to put different colors, okay? So this is an exercise in shadows and highlights, just like a lot of things that we do when we're painting. And so you want to have an assortment of colors that are light and dark. And because I don't want any of this grounded in reality, I'm going to choose crazy bright colors that would never exist on a face in nature, because we can. Because that is just kicks and giggles. Just fun. So I've got white, and I'm going to use umber for my paint. By the way, this has a lab label on it because Steve, the chemist at Ranger, did a reformulation of the paint just to keep them more shelf stable. Yeah, you can use a Posca pen. We're always constantly looking for ways to improve the product, and we want the paint to stay, not dry out as quick, because all paint will eventually dry out. You guys know that, but we're trying to improve them. So this was the prototype for the paint. The new formulation, and it's awesome. You guys won't notice the difference, except it'll last longer for you at home in your house. And the other cool thing about it is Ranger does all these really cool tests when they're creating a product line, and one of them is called the oven test. So they'll put these bottles in an oven for 2 weeks on a certain temperature, and if they dry up, they know that they won't last on a shelf in a store for a year. So everything does go through testing to make sure that it's good for you guys. So the chemistry of it's quite interesting. All right, so I have an assortment of paint here to use, and then I also want you to really observe your photo. Doesn't matter if it's an animal, if it's a fish, if it's a person, you're going to see areas that the photo is darker and areas that it's lighter. I'm going to be using a dry brush, and I'm going to be putting my paint on so thin that I can always see, or try to always see, the photograph in the background. So I'm going to start with my shadow color, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of umber, and then I'm going to wipe half of it off, because I want this to go on really thin. Needs to go on thin. Be careful with shadows under noses. They'll turn very mustachy on you if you're not careful. This person is being lit from this side, so it's shadowy on this side of the face. And when you put this on, you're going to be like, oh, I ruined it. What is Dina making me do? Torturing you. So I've learned I can get away with lots of different things in my art, as long as kind of shadows and highlights are in place. So that looks good for shadows. What do you guys think? So I can't emphasize enough how thin I put that paint on. There's no ridges like Van Gogh. It is a dry brushed paint. In fact, it's practically dry. It's already dry. That's how thin I'm putting it on. And then this brush is not going to hit the water. I'm actually wiping it on my apron. You probably can't tell. Well, you can see the very end of my paintbrush. Thank you guys so much for joining. I so appreciate it. Good to have all of you. Can you use a jet printed image? Yeah, you can. Just double check that the jet ink is not going to dissolve or like wet, but new, like I said the other day, new inkjet printers, the inks are much more permanent than they were in the beginning. Okay, next I'm gonna do main face color. So I'm picking up some magenta and I'm gonna fill in and even overlap some of that shadow. You can hear it on my apron. My apron's so crusty. I do wash my aprons. There was a question the other day in the Dina Wakely Media Tribe. The question was, is paint permanent on fabric? And I'm here to tell you, oh yes. Paint is permanent on fabric, you guys. Just ask my jeans, ask my aprons, ask everything. So as I paint, I'm not going to do eyes, nose, and mouth. Well, eyes and lips really until the very, very end. So, and if you need to paint over your Sharpie lines or your pen lines, it's fine. Because they're still going to show up, right? Because this paint is going on so thin. What's nice about that though is that you're giving this skin color, you're painting it over that shadow that you just did, and that shadow is going to show through because all our layers are going on so thin. Okay, the number one mistake people make when they're painting like this is way too much paint, way too much. And then, you know, I can change this any way I want it to be, really. Okay, so now the fun comes. Okay, so let's see, I also put out some turquoise, some peacock. La 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 la. So I can add anything I want in here and really make her look like she's from Guardians of the Galaxy or some cool movie. By the way, I love that movie. That is a fun movie. One of my faves. So I added some peacock. I put Sedona out, which makes no sense because it's gonna look a little strange, but basically just add random brush strokes of color. I don't know why you guys are talking about hand sanitizer. Let me go back. I don't know. Oh, hand sanitizer gets acrylic out of it. Yeah, hand sanitizer will get it out again if it's just there. If you just did it. If it's dried and been there for a while, you could try Murphy's oil soap. Okay, so the bottom line is now I am just adding colors that just for interest, for no other reason than, oh, let's put some turquoise on there. Oh, hello, that's not turquoise. And that was a big old blob of paint, y'all. La, 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 la. Do it so careful. Perfect. Okay. Now what I want to do, I did not put gesso down. Nope. Straight on the magazine page. All right. So now what I'm going to do is wipe my brush off and pick up white paint. And you kind of have to remember where the picture was lightest. You could take a photo of it with your cell phone before you begin. And I'm going to brush white paint on the light areas. And if you're doing this carefully and you're wanting it to be perfect and blendy, that's fine. But I think half the fun of doing crazy faces like this is, you know, all the imperfections and well, that's kind of different, and the things that draw you in. So I'm gonna add some crazy white paint. I'm gonna go back to pink. So I call it lather, rinse, repeat, where you just keep throwing craziness down until you're like, wow, that's funky cool, right? Oh, I think she's great. And one of the things that I'll do as I'm going along, I'll get her to a point, and then I'll think, oh, I need more shadow. So I always go back and I reinforce the shadows. The shadows are what makes things come alive. What make things come alive. I can talk good. I do have cabin fever. I don't know if you guys have cabin fever, but I am tired of being home. I really am. I miss my kids. I wish they were home. I'm sick of cooking. Well, so many people have it so much worse. I mean, we're healthy, we're alive, right? Some people are losing their lives, which is so scary and sad. So, counting our blessings. Faith, not fear. Faith, not fear, my friends. All right, so there, that's what she looks like so far. Travis, that's a good idea. Going for a drive in the middle of the night, I bet it would be really peaceful. All right, so I added that patch of blue there just because I felt like it. Just because, you know, I don't know, this is not supposed to be anything other than funky art face, right? All right, so now this brush is going to hit the water. And now I'm going to grab a smaller brush and I'm going to take white paint, and in the whites, I'm going to spill tags in it, and then in the whites of her eyes, I'm going to paint white paint. And again, I'm not looking for perfectly blended layers. If it's patchy, great. I hope it is patchy, actually. Okay, and now I want to give her an eye color. I mean, she's got pretty brown eyes, but I'm gonna do olive green eyes. If you make the eyes too funky looking, then you really will kind of have somebody out of a scary horror movie. Because scary movies, what makes the people look really funky always is super strange eyeballs. Oh, that looks pretty strange. Oh my gosh. We can fix it here in a minute. I'm gonna add, so did you know the eyes also have shadows in them? Often the whites of your eyes are not completely white. There's a shadow in the corners, but that's a subject for another day. You can really see the catch light. So I'm adding, I did olive in her eyes, and then I added umber. She's got a really strong catch light. That's the white. That's actually in the photograph. That's the little white bit in her eye. I'm gonna blot that down just a tad. Okay. How about lips? Lips also have shadows. So I'm gonna start with like your all over lip color. And if you don't like the Sharpie coming through your finished product, then line it with a thinner Sharpie, or don't line it at all. I just lined it to kind of give you guys a guide. The dark lip, or excuse me, the top lip is a little darker than the bottom lip because your bottom lip protrudes a little bit, usually. And your bottom lip often has a highlight right in the middle there. The light that I have on my desk that I have shining to light up the desk for you guys is giving me like a fierce glare. Again, my goal here isn't perfection, it's interest, right? It's visual interest. Let's give her a hair color. We're gonna, you know why we're gonna use Sedona? Because it's on my desk. I'm gonna switch to a fatter brush. That really does not go. But hey, whatever planet she's from, it's gonna work for me. All right, now I'm going to take scribble sticks. Because I put this paint on so thin and it's so dry, with my scribble sticks, I can add marks, scribbly layers. This is really fun too. So like, let's say that you you don't feel confident in your drawing abilities yet, but you want to play with faces, this is a great way to take your source material and alter it quite significantly so that you can still play and have fun. La, 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 la. Scribble sticks just make everything better. I'm not going to wet the scribble sticks. I'm going to keep them dry. I tend to scribble in the shadowy areas. So the areas that are outlining areas, the areas that are the dark, you know, the dark shadowy bits, that's where I tend to scribble. So if you're not sure where to add a scribbly line, start there. And the fun thing about scribble sticks, by adding these layers, is they don't make any, you know, again, they're not meant to make any sense. They're just meant to be artistic fun. You could create a story and have a whole planet of people. Create a narrative. There's that English teacher in me again, wanting you to, in place of scribble sticks, you don't even really need to use anything. Neocolor 2s, if you have them, maybe. If you don't have anything like that, try oil pastels. I don't know, just use what you've got, and if you don't have anything, then you can skip that step. All of this is kind of like a Yahtzee cup. You know, you play Yahtzee and you shake the Yahtzee cup and then you spill out the dice. Oh, thanks. I just did them again last night because I was bored. You shake the dice and the dice roll out and give you your score in Yahtzee, and, you know, you get what you get. Well, and you can, you know, do it in any order. That's kind of like the stuff that I do. A lot of this stuff can be done in different orders. It doesn't have to be the order I demo, or, you know, you're as you go along, you might need something different. You might think, oh, I need to go back to highlight. I covered it up. If you cover something up too much, you know, that's the great thing about paint, is that you can fix it. Hey, you do have green eyes and red hair, except I don't know if your hair is Sedona, Catherine. Scribble sticks, Carla, are one of my products. She does look like she's from Star Trek. Yeah. Yeah, it really does make her look really different. If you really like an image, by the way, before you overpaint it, take a photo of it so that you can print it again. You know, well, then she looks so different than how she started, right? And if you ruin it, so what? It's a piece of paper, right? But that photo is the ultimate guide for helping you know what to do. Now, do you need to outline it with a Stabilo pencil? No, you don't. If you lose some of your features, though, like if you paint over something and like, let's say the tip of the nose went away, and that happens sometimes, you can put it back. So everything can be fixed with an outline, always. And then, so before you do this, you could, you know, glue it down onto whatever you want to use it on. Maybe you're just using it for practice. I didn't glue it down in my journal first. I would just use gel medium and then let that glue dry if you want. I'm just going to cut her out. Number one rule for this, you guys, is don't be too heavy-handed. Yeah, you can do this with oil sticks. You can do it all with scribble stick, actually. In fact, let's do it all with scribble stick next. Okay, so there she is. And then I would grab a journal, which I'm looking for. And then in the journal, you know, she gets glued down. And then you've got a cool page. Isn't that cool? So there's one part. I love her too. I think she turned out okay. Remember, if you have low standards, you'll really like. If you put her in after with a scribble, yeah, I wouldn't glue on her. I wouldn't glue on the front of her. I would only glue on the back. unless you want to seal it. Okay, let's do one with only scribble sticks, no acrylic paint, like wet paint. So let me grab another one of my images. Let's do this lady. I've got a lot of paint floating around here. I'm just gonna slide this craft sheet because I know that I'm gonna end up sticking my stuff in my drawing in there. I'm sorry my desk is so dirty, but at this point you guys have accepted me as I am, right? You've accepted me as I am, and there's no, I'm not gonna be changing myself. At least not for that. I definitely work on myself constantly and try to be better, but she looks worried. Where did she go? I lost her already. I think she just has a neutral face. Yeah, maybe she's a little worried. Maybe she is just feeling like we're all feeling. You know what I mean? All right, let's do one with only scribble sticks. Now, that's going to be a challenge depending on the paper. So this is like the back of the cover of InStyle magazine, which means, you know how the covers are always a little bit heavier. So let's see if this even works. I might have to hop up and make a photocopy of it. It's not the easiest, but we're gonna go for it. Why not? All right, so now same rules apply. I'm not gonna outline her with the Sharpie this time, but I am gonna start with my dark color. Okay, so dark color. Now I'm not gonna wet this because the minute I wet these scribble sticks on this slick magazine paper, it's not gonna be the most pleasant experience. Though they're gonna turn into like a big mushy wet ick. Okay, so now I'm repeating the process. I'm laying down a lot of scribble stick, you guys, a lot. This is not a little bit, like a little lick of the ice cream cone. This is eating the cone of ice cream. Doesn't ice cream sound good? You know what, it's gonna be 86 here in Phoenix today. Isn't that amazing? 86. Gonna be warm. Yeah, these were from InStyle magazine. Look at her nostrils. Those are nice and dark. By the way, I saw a beautiful picture of a lady that I thought, oh, I'm gonna do that one, and then I realized she had an open mouth. And I really didn't want to make her teeth look like chiclets, so I chose something else. I'm really sorry the desk is shaking. All right. So after the dark color comes what, you guys? Do you remember? General skin tone. So now, what's hilarious about this is that because my desk is so dirty, this is kind of acting like a rubbing, like when you're in a old beautiful church in Europe and they have those crayons there that you can make rubbings of the brass plates or the cemetery headstones. You get a rubbing of the engraving or the inscription. Well, here I'm getting a rubbing of all of my dirty paint blobs that are underneath. So because I'm not blending these right now, at least at this point, I'm laying down a lot of pigment, and I am gonna see my brush strokes. Now, I don't have brush strokes now, but I just have scribble strokes, right? They're gonna be visible, so be aware. It would be going on a little smoother had I made a photocopy of this on regular paper. Oh, happy birthday. Oh no. What's your favorite kind of ice cream, you guys? Ice cream is one of my favorite foods. I love ice cream. So as I put this turquoise on, I am covering up the shadow just like I did with the acrylic paint. So just like the acrylic, I am over coloring that shadow. Mint choc chip is good. I love mint choc chip. I love mint cookie, like mint with Oreos in it. Oh my goodness. And that's mine, Bev. peanut butter and chocolate. Peanut butter and chocolate from Baskin Robbins is so good. And then Cold Stone makes a sundae called Peanut Butter Cup Perfection. And then get it with extra peanut butter cups. It's so good. Oh my gosh, my mouth is literally watering, you guys. Okay, can you see that she looks better? Or you know, those shadows are looking integrated because I have colored over them with this skin tone color, right? Can you see that in the broadcast? You know what, Brenda? My sons love vanilla. If you had asked my son Cole what ice cream he wanted me to buy at the store, he would always say vanilla. They would say vanilla or cookie dough. I love that your husband has a couple bites of ice cream every day. Oh, and let me tell you what you guys need to put on your ice cream. Well, you don't need to do anything, but I'll tell you one of my favorite things. Mrs. Richardson's caramel. So she does look like she's wearing one of those wet face masks. Once we get her eyes and nose and mouth in better, she won't look like she's wearing a mask. Yes, Carol, I do want an ice cream soda in Nashville, Indiana. Yes, that was delicious. So Mrs. Richardson's caramel, anything, her hot fudge is all right. It's good, but her caramels are amazing. She has butterscotch caramel, regular caramel, and salted caramel. It's just a ice cream topping, and it is, oh my gosh, it's the best. So Milagros in Puerto Rico, one of her customers and friends makes these really amazing cookies called Guava Cookies. This is like we're on Survivor, you guys, and we can't stop talking about food. And so these Guava Cookies they made them for us when I taught in Puerto Rico. And by the way, I loved Puerto Rico. I loved it. I don't know why more people don't go there. It was fantastic. Anywho, what's my point? My point is that these guava cookies they were crisp and they were buttery and they're just so amazing. So anyway, she sent me some the other day and I had a little scoop of vanilla ice cream with guava cookie crumbled on it and Mrs. Richardson's caramel, and it was so good. Oh, all right. So now I've got the main face color in, right? And I am now just going to add those extra kicks of color that don't make any sense, that are fun. I'm losing her nose a little bit. Never fear. We will come back at the end with an outline and all will be right again in the world. These definitely go through an ugly stage. They just do, especially when you're using this dry medium on this slippery paper. So colors that make no sense. She does look like she's from Avatar. Reed and I watched Frozen 2 yesterday. We hadn't seen that one yet. And I just have to say that Olaf is awesome. He's hilarious. He's the best part of the whole movie. La 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 la. Oh my word. She is a hot mess and I love it. I love it. I love me a good hot mess. I always tell everybody I've made a whole career on a hot mess. Hot messes are my jam, people. Hot messes are my jam. I know I love root beer floats too. All right, so I'm gonna now color her lips with a pink. She is definitely gonna need an outline. She looks, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But I'll show you. She'll be all right in the end. She will. I'm confident. All right, we definitely need an eye color. I'm using Elephant. By the way, the box of scribble sticks that's on my desk right now, they are all the, it's set 2. I could pull out the other one, but that would mean moving a bunch of things. So I'm just making do with what I got. It's all set 2. Elephant. All right, so what are we missing? We're missing highlight. I guess I am gonna have to move stuff because set 1 does have a white stick, right? White stick. That is sand. So now I'm going to that highlight phase. Look how much better that looks already. Isn't that amazing when you start adding that highlight? Cheeks. This one's definitely artsier and funkier. Artistic challenge for sure if you haven't done one all the way with dry scribbles. She doesn't look like that. I don't think she is that actress that plays Bella in Twilight, but now I've made her look like that actress, I think. So I can't emphasize enough how hard I'm pressing. I'm really, really pressing hard to lay down the pigment. Now watch what happens. Oop. Oh my gosh, you guys. I have now completely dumped a scribble stick in my acrylic paint, as one does when you're a hot mess like me. I'm going to come back and I'm going to reinforce shadows. I'm going to make my shadows darker. The reason my camera is shaking so much when I scribble is it's sitting on a tripod that is sitting on my desk. So sorry about that, you guys. And I'm pressing so hard. That's why it's doing that. Whites of the eyes. La. Yeah, Kristen Stewart, that's her name. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Highlight on the lip. All right, so she is funky. I love her. So I am going to turn to my Stabilo pencil. So watch the magic, my friends. Let me just sharpen it. By the way, these are sharpeners that your local stores can get for you. If any of you local stores are watching right now and you carry these, will you pipe in and let people know? Because they're awesome. Yeah, you don't have to use a magazine. You can just print a photo from the internet. You can print I've done this with all my kids. I've once made ornaments. I made ornaments with crazy portraits of all my kids' oh, sorry, you probably can't hear me talking with a pencil in my mouth. I made ornaments with all my kids' faces, painted in crazy Technicolor. All right, ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so should stop shaking now. So now, remember that outline we did on the very first one with the Sharpie? I essentially want to do that Sharpie outline, but I'm going to do it last instead of first. And I'm going to do it with a Stabilo pencil because at this point a Sharpie is not going to work great on all of this scribble stick that I've laid down. So you'll see, look how her eyes look better already. So the outline will fix any sort of over scribbling that you've done. You could outline it first and then outline it again for sure if you're more comfortable with that as well. She's got really round booger holes. Sorry about that. Sorry, dear. I used to teach a class where we would do this with pet photos. I would have everybody bring a photo of their pet. And for the most part, it turned out, people's pieces turned out really cool. Some people struggled because there is sort of a learning curve. One lady, I'll never forget, it was at Tracy's store in Connecticut. Only time I've ever seen this poor lady. She never wanted to take a class with me again, bless her. She the whole time she was just complaining about what she was doing. And every time I walked over, it looked better and better. It looked so good. I mean, it was way better than the one I made. So, you know, don't be so hard on yourselves, you guys. I hope she walked out happy. I can't even remember. But I was happy with what she did. I thought it was great. So that outline will bring features forward again. It will, what's special about Stabilos? Well, they're not really a pencil for sketching. They're a pencil for coloring on paper, glass, plastic, and metal, and they're water soluble. But what I like about them is because they are meant to write on plastic, that they're really bold and black on acrylic paint and on scribble stick. Because if I had a regular pencil and I was outlining with just a graphite pencil, I wouldn't get this nice black dark line. Jillian, you were in that class. I could even picture where you were sitting. So anyways, Stabilo all pencils are just one of my most used tools. They make you look better than you are. I just love them. The downside to a Stabilo is that they are water soluble, so they're not permanent. So I can't gesso over this or something like that. Yeah, there's no gessoing over that. I outlined her eye really strongly, and I wished I wouldn't have. One of the things that, one of my secret weapons, you guys, is to not outline the bottoms of eyes strongly, because if you do, you'll look like you're doing Elizabeth, whatever her name was, in Cleopatra. You know, see what I'm saying? All right, so that's how she looks with only scribble stick. Definitely more challenging, and you definitely can see the marks that the sticks make, but I don't want to get rid of that. I feel like that's the hand of the artist. Yeah, it's not as messy as using paint, and it's still a really cool look, right? Totally doable. So now hopefully this sends you on a fun little journey to find fun pictures. It really is fun to do pictures of yourself and of people you know. The disadvantage to doing pictures of yourself and people you know is that you want them to actually look like that when you're done. And sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. Just depends. If they don't look like people you know when you're done, then okay, try again. No big deal. I'm just going to give her a hair color, I decided. A little purple scribble in that hair. Yeah, Carol, you can. I used to teach people, I used to have people make rubbings in class. So we would put the pencil, or the stencil down and then lay tissue over and rub. We used to do that on purpose in class. I haven't done that in ages, but yeah, I used to have people do that sometimes. Make a rubbing. It's just another way to use all your stencils, right? Okay, there's the other one. What did I do with my other girl? Here she is. I'll put them on a white background so you can see a little better. She needs a mole on her cheek. Sometimes I will give them little hearts. And if you have the red Stabilo, it's perfect for little hearts. I actually don't have a red one right now. So let's see if I have a sharp enough. What did I write? I wrote, I am making art and I'm grateful for community. La, 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 la. Okay. Fun and easy, right? There's no wax, yeah. So I am now watching comments, so I'm sure I've missed your comments. So instead of scrolling back, if you guys will just ask again, I will be paying attention here for a second and making sure you guys, that I answer them. It is fun, isn't it? And again, if it doesn't turn out good, so what? Throw it away. Yes, scribble sticks will react with water. So if I wanted to blend this out, I could get in there with a brush. Right now there's enough paint from the stick on there that I could blend it out. The other thing I could do to blend this out, if I wanted to make it blended is I would put a little bit of white paint on a dry brush, and I would blend it out with white if you wanted to. Again, the secret of the sharpener is that it's heavy duty. It doesn't chew your pencil up. And then when the blade gets dull, you can change the blade. So you can buy these little blades. See these? And then I use just like an eyeglass screwdriver for your, to fix your eyeglasses, and tiny little screwdriver, and you can swap the blades out. How would you use these after I cut them out? I'd glue them right in my journal. Glue them right in my journal and make a journal page. Do you go back and critique these? No. Remember, I have really low standards for my art. So what I've done is what I've done, and what I've done is better than any day spent doing chores, hanging up my laundry, so any store owners here, I usually buy the blades at the same stores that I buy the sharpeners from. So often the store owners will buy the blades as well. So in the past, I have bought sharpeners from lots of different stores around the country. Magazines, Marilyn, yeah, these were magazine faces. You can print photos out just on your printer and do that. Try your pets. It's a little trickier with fur, but the light and dark still applies. Just don't ruin their eyeballs, their eyes and their nose. I can move laundry through the washer and dryer, no problem. What I cannot do is hang it up. I just can't do it. It's called a bullet, Alvin bullet. And it's they're about $6 or $7. Michelle says that Scrappy Chic in Michigan has the blades too, probably. So you could try Scrappy Chic. Please give these independents a call. Yay, thanks, Renee. Renee has both. Scrappy Chic in Michigan. Bev in Omaha also has the sharpeners. Try those too, please. They're fantastic. These sharpeners are my number one thing stolen in class. People nick them from me all the time because you pick it up and it has this heavy weight to it, and you're like, oh, that's really heavy. And then, you use it and it doesn't chew up your pencil. I'm not good at, as you can tell by this, I'm not really that good at coloring. So I own Prismacolors, but I don't use Prismacolors. But like, let's say you spend the money on really, really good, really good Prismacolors or colored pencils. You're going to want, here, I'll type it in, Nikki, Alvin bullet. You're gonna want something that won't chew up your investment in those pencils. I will try to find some pet ones that I've done. I'm gonna have to dig though. And we all know how well that's turning out. Yeah, try Paper Craft Clubhouse. Oh, Jennifer, it happens all the time. So many people steal stuff, and they steal stuff from oh yeah. And then every now and then somebody will email me and say, oh my gosh, your stencil ended up in my bag. I'm so sorry. That's different. I mean, accidentally taking something home is different, but yeah, people do steal. But all these store owners have stories about people that steal from them. So let's do pet ones. I would have to find a photo. So I have this little, I'll do this one. So this is not a photo of my cat. This is a book that I bought. Should I leave that there? Is it easier to see? I think it is. All right. This is from a book that I bought, and it's been on my wall because I think it's adorable, but I'll overpaint it for you. I was at some antique store, and we were selling sets of these books, these Ladybird picture books, and they were shrink wrapped, so I couldn't really tell what all of the different subjects were. And I bought 2 sets, and then I was so pleased with what I ended up with. This is just a few of the ones that I have, but this I tore out of this little picture book, and so they're just meant to teach little kids words. But look how great the illustrations are. I mean, look how perfect they are for collage. Isn't that awesome? I'm trying to remember where I was when I bought these. I don't even know if I was even in my own town. I probably wasn't, to be fair. Look, some little kid somewhere along the world has colored doodled on that page. Isn't that so cool? This one cracks me up because I probably should actually read that, Learning to Sew. The camera, churches and cathedrals. One of my favorite things to do is go visit churches and cathedrals when I travel. So inspiring. Anyway, so that's where this comes from. But pretend like that's a picture of my cat. It practically is. It actually looks a lot like Zelda. Okay, so we're going to use acrylic paint here and a dry brush. And what I want to do is I want to pay attention to shadows and highlights. Again, the process is exactly the same. So I'm just looking for my paint that I still have out. All right, so this is darker here. So the key here for even the little pet photo is going to be not making the eyes and nose look like Children of the Corn. Children of the Corn horror movie where all the creatures are scary, right? You're gonna have to put in whiskers at the end, by the way. Don't do whiskers right now. That side, there's not a lot of shadow. Very thin dry brush. I'm not putting a lot of paint on. I'm putting it on so that it is pretty much instantly dry. See, this one's harder because it's not as big. I should have put it on the photocopier first. Okay, so there is the shadow for now. That look good to y'all? Well, there's some on the leg too. Oh good, I have another scribble stick rolling around in the acrylic paint. Good, Dina, well done. So you can stay with the original colors of the animal, or you can go rogue. I'm gonna go rogue because I've got so much paint. Dana Wakely. Oh, seriously. Let me just put those away. Hey, there's a shocker. Did you know if you put stuff away, they won't roll over around in the paint? Okay, so now we're gonna make this kitty blue. And I'm avoiding the eyes and the nose. No eyes and nose at this point. And an outline will make all the difference here. I didn't outline this with Sharpie to start. So what's fun about this is that now you can create creatures that match all of your people from other planets. How cool is that, right? Can't believe how quiet my cats have been during these demos. Normally they're in here bugging the crap out of me the whole day. It makes me laugh. They've been really sleepy. Well, it doesn't, my husband's working from home and he's in the other room, and I call Zelda my husband's girlfriend because she's in love with my husband. So because he's home, she is a happy girl. All right, so can you tell how thin I'm dry brushing this paint on, you guys? My cats are not ragdolls, but they're bred from ragdolls. They are a breed called a ragamuffin. That is a real breed. It's a recognized breed. People think I'm just calling them like, oh, you cute little ragamuffin. It actually is their breed. And they have personalities kind of like ragdolls in the sense that they're really sweet. They really love their humans. Okay, now I'm just adding extra colors, guys. They really love their humans, and they are very puppy-like. They're known for being a very puppy-like cat in the sense that they do bond with their humans. I know that my orange kitty, well, he's really, my son is that orange kitty's person, my son Carter. That orange kitty loves Carter. And that orange kitty, he gets lonely. He needs people, especially. So here's a funny story about Carter and his sweet girlfriend, Kelsey. So Zelda would always sit with Carter as well when Reed was gone. Zelda's the one that loves my husband. And it would crack us up because Zelda did not like Kelsey. Because Kelsey would come and Zelda would literally give her dirty looks. She would look at Kelsey like if looks could kill. She just would scowl at Kelsey. It was so funny. She just knew that Kelsey was taking Carter's attention or something. And oh my gosh, we would laugh so hard. Zelda was so like snobby. Oh, but she's warmed up to her now. But at the beginning, even Kelsey would laugh about it. We were like, oh my gosh, this cat is like, how dare you take the attention of my boy. It's so funny. Titan Buff, though, loves everybody. Titan is not your typical cat. He just is a different kind of creature. All right, so I had to switch to a smaller brush because my original photo started out so small. So I've switched to a smaller brush and now I'm adding highlight. That makes sense? So I added some extra color. Now I'm adding highlight into the lightest areas. Okay, that brush still has umber paint on it. Number one mistake I'll see people make, that brush hit the water, dang it. Number one mistake I'll see people make is too much paint. Again, you've got to train yourself to not use a lot. Use less than you think you need and then use even less than that. Because you can always put more paint on there, but what you can't do is take it away very easily. And then let the brush do the work. Let the brush be the fur, right? Especially with a dry brush. That's what's kind of nice with the dry brush is the dry brush can really give you that painterly feel that you're making fur. I once painted an animal, a cat, in a video that I was making for cloth paper scissors for F&W for my all those videos that I made ages ago. And when the cat was done, we filmed it and the cameras went off and the camera guys were cracking up because the cat ended up looking like Wilford Brimley. I literally made a cat that looked like Wilford Brimley. Isn't that weird? All right, so can you see how the process is though? It's really not a lot different than the process that we did with the faces. You are following lights and darks. Lights and darks are the key. And really by putting this paint on top of these images, we are abstracting the image. We're removing detail. So what you don't want to do is try to get in there and make this feel realistic. We're not doing realism, right guys? We're doing funky art, abstract kitty. Oh, they're cute. I don't even know if I need to paint the eyes, but I will. But the eyes are pretty. The color of the original illustration. Let me see. I have learned if you make eyes look red, then it's not good, you guys. Don't do red eyes or anything weird like that. Well, I mean, who am I to tell you what to do? But well, try it and then yeah. Red eyes, just horror movie time. A little bit of paint in the eye. Oh, and we need to give him a pink nose, right? So my set of brushes has this tiny, tiny, tiny little brush in, and this is situations when I use it, when it's just indispensable. I'm not the biggest fine detail painter at all. But every now and then, man, you need a brush that's little. For the most part, though, I only use my big fat ones, and then this one comes in to save the day in situations like this. Okay. What do you guys think? Kitty! All right, let's outline it. Kitty. I don't think this one necessarily needed an outline, but we're gonna do it. I'm doing it light. I'm not pressing hard at all. And an outliner is when I would probably add whiskers back if I wanted them. Kitty. You could add the scribble stick elements as well. There we go. There's my crazy kitty. Yeah, calendar pictures would work. Use full strength heavy body paint. Don't water it down though, because of the gloss. The gloss on the paper is, you know, hard to paint on. Can be hard to paint on anyway. What kind of pencil? It's a Stabilo is the brand, and the pencil is all ALL. I'm really sorry for the camera shaking, you guys. All right. There's my kitty. That's how I would do it with a pet. All right, last chance for questions. Looking at it made me realize I didn't put her face back in. La, la, la. What did I do with the pencil? It was just in my hand. Okay. Why can't I ever pick up what I just threw down? Right? Kitty. So I hope this gives you some creative fodder for the day. Like I said, this is, you know, we've all been doing this for ages. You've probably done this before. If you haven't, definitely try it. If you've done it before, but I bet you haven't done it in a while. So do it again. Happy Monday. Hope you guys have a really awesome day. And remember, you can always watch these later on my blog. I didn't put Saturdays and Sundays because those are just so conversational. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if they'd be of value. So I didn't save those, but you can still always watch those on the Art of Dina Wagley Facebook page. And you can always catch the replay there. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome Monday.